these teasers. They've been cutting these promos for almost, you said, about maybe month and a half now, ever since he signed with the company. And now we're going to see it. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Well, let's answer some of these questions. Tim Hardy says, it's so sad NXT only got 636,000. It's been such a great show, and it's been dropping. Yes, it has been a great show.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. I like NXT. I do. I think NXT is the best product on WWE television right now. But what I'm going to tell you is that I think each week, I feel like they're doing the same skits over and over again. And I also think that they're moving Bronson Reed up too fast. And
is that what's going on?
Huh?
Is that what's going on? Because
he lost the title, and then the week prior he did a match on Main Event with also the same night Karrion Kross did a match. So yeah, I guarantee you that Karrion Kross is going to be dropping the title.
Right.
So I mean, you're going to see both those guys.
Oh yeah, they've been on the Main Event show for WWE, haven't they, lately? Those two.
Yes. Wesley Young, Andrade will win. Yes, I don't see Andrade not winning the match. I mean, if they make Andrade lose the first match, it would be crazy.
I would not be happy, I'll tell you that.
Kenny Omega and Andrade for the AEW title, that would be a match to see.
That could be a classic, absolutely.
What if Matt Sydal versus one of the NXT rosters? That could, you know what? I did hear something a couple months ago rumbling that McMahon wanted to work with more companies, and that's why he let Jericho come on
Broken Skull Sessions podcast. Yep.
So I mean, could we see a cross branding of AEW WWE? You never know.
Everyone says, and I want to jump into it here. Everyone says it's going to be McMahon buying out AEW. I don't think it's going to be the case. I see AEW staying around for a long time here, and I think it will be WWE's competition because right now it is.
Remember, Tony Khan's father has more money than McMahon. I mean, he owns the Jaguars. He owns a soccer team. He owns a lot. Absolutely. He owns a lot of stuff. Question: do you think Ricochet needs a push? Why or why not? Here's the problem with Ricochet. I see. I feel like Ricochet's momentum coming out of NXT was not as strong as he was in NXT. And what I mean by that is okay, he comes off a win with Aleister Black for the Dusty Cup. Okay, they both leave, they both get brought up, but then they don't use them in the right sense and the right wrestling ways. So I think with these two gentlemen, well, actually no, because Aleister Black is gone, but with Ricochet, I feel like he's another one that's going to be on the list to go. I really do.
I actually have to disagree with you here on this. I think they are pushing Ricochet due to him winning over. Oh God, who did he win over? Do you think it was Drew McIntyre? And trust me, I was upset about it too, everyone. I'll be honest with you, I'm a big Drew fan. And I was upset about Drew losing, but Drew ended up winning anyway. So, it worked out okay. So, I'm happy about that there. Yes.
Well, let's jump back into Road Rager happening next week. Live on the road in Miami, AEW. Inner Circle, Jake Hager and Santana Ortiz with Conan versus the Pinnacle, Warlord, FTR, and with Tully Blanchard. I'm going to tell you this right now. Last week when I was in Jacksonville for Dynamite, I couldn't believe the power driver that Conan took, knowing that he just got out of the hospital a couple of weeks back.
Right.
So that to me, that was crazy that FTR did that. And then to see both Conan and Tully Blanchard in the ring together after so many years was amazing.
Right.
And then also, to keep that going, to see Tony Schiavone, a lot of people don't know how long Tony Schiavone's been doing this. I mean, Tony Schiavone's been doing this since the 60s, early 70s. I mean,
oh yeah,
I remember watching Tony Schiavone, and I still do go back and watch some of his stuff. A lot of his promos with Ric Flair um, a lot of the famous ones that he did with Ric Flair. So Tony, and to see Tony Schiavone up and close at AEW in Jacksonville was really cool.
I bet. Yeah, that must have been awesome, right? You guys went last week, and Nico went tonight, obviously. So that's really cool.
I'm telling you what, Mad Dog, this card looks so good. I'm actually thinking about maybe
taking the trip, huh?
Taking a trip to Miami. This card is stacked. I mean, it's just it's a great card. Let's talk about
well, I want to get to this quick comment here. There's a quick comment. Someone asked a question here. Where is Ali and where is his push? What do you think, Vinny?
Last that I heard, Ali was hurt. And he was going to be out for a while. And his push, I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, he had the push with the group.
Retribution.
Yeah. And right. Really, they really didn't do anything with it. I mean,
no, yeah, it was a total failure. I agree.
So, I mean, I don't know how much more can you get a push by, right. McMahon giving you an actual group on the main roster Raw show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Great American Bash, man. It's happening next Wednesday. And so far, all I've seen so far, LA Knight will be giving to the moon. Cameron Grimes, another rematch against LA Knight for the NXT $1 million title. It's so crazy now. It's called the NXT,
right? Yeah. Yeah, I find that funny too, right?
But you know what? I would love to see, as much as I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see sometime down the line Cameron Grimes getting his hand on that $1 million title, because I tell you what, there was nothing better. And I still go back and watch those promos from a couple weeks ago with $1 Million Man. Those were slim to none, man. I mean, those were great promos. And then when they threw LA Knight into it, I was like, man, what are they doing with this?
Right. Yeah. I thought it was great too, because at first I thought, okay, maybe Ted's going to manage LA Knight when it first went down. I was like, okay, that could be a possibility. Or maybe, Ted would manage Cameron Grimes. That would be a possibility. I thought he was going to be some sort of management role. And honestly, it didn't, as you know, it worked out the way it did. And it was all introduced the title again. So,
Well, also being scheduled at the Bash, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark taking on The Way. Right. What do we think about this match?
Right. I'm excited for the match. I think the champs will retain. Because I've been hearing some rumblings in the back that Io Shirai might get a call up soon. So,
well, I tell you this, they do. Here's the thing about doing NXT and then going to the main roster. Do I think that the main roster needs new women? Sure, but do I think Io Shirai leave NXT? No, because to me, I think leaving NXT is a death wish, and that's just my opinion. Because yeah, of course, would you like to be on the main roster? Absolutely, but here's what you have to understand: is when you get put on the main roster, there's so many people in line to be on TV that it's like you're just another number, and then if they don't use you so much, they just get rid of you.
Right.
While you're NXT, I mean, if you have a good storyline, they keep you around.
Well, I mean, unless you're Finn Balor, obviously, and then I like I said, I have no clue who the hell he is, and he always has great storylines. Last time I saw him, what was it? It was at Takeover, right, in your house, I think it was, and I haven't seen him since. So,
all right. Well, no, he wasn't in your house. He was supposed to be in your house because right after Stand and Deliver, they started previewing the match for In Your House, and he was on the very first week on the show after Stand and Deliver, and then he went away. he drove off in the sunset.
I don't know what's going on. I've heard rumors he's getting the call up. I've heard rumors he quit the company. I don't know. Right, let's get into some of these comments here. What do you think about this one? Are you interested in having a Survivor Series with NXT again? What do you think?
Hell yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you what right now. I think that was one of the best Survivor Series in a long time.
Yeah, it was great.
I think the build up, and here's the thing. Here's what you have to understand too. More so for me because NXT was at Full Sail at this time, and a lot of the wrestlers were coming to Full Sail, like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Cesaro. A lot of them were coming to NXT to promote this crossover brand. And I'm going to tell you what, I think that match they had was slim to none. And I love the crossover matches when, like, you had Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan. You know, and then I think there was one Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. Like, those were great. Yep. Those are great matches. And I just wish they would have. Here's the problem with WWE. They see something, it goes well, but they never capitalize on bringing it back. It's always one
and done. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm not a big fan of that.
Ricochet, yeah,
yes, they
really
did.
Good. Yeah,
they did have a memorable Dusty Club.
Yes. John Gargano carrying Cross. What do you think? John Gargano carrying Cross at the title.
This is at Great American Bash.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: if Killian Karrion Kross loses the title to Johnny Gargano, you know he's moving up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess. Here, let's keep going here. As there's a way too many championships that don't. What do you think about this?
There are way too many championships in WWE that they don't mean much. Do you agree? Well, here's the thing about it. I think right now, with the way things are going, let's just take for example NXT. Okay, so we started out with the NXT Championship, and that was the only one. Okay, then they brought in the NXT Tag Team titles, which was good, but for some odd reason, they thought it was necessary to make a North American Championship. Where I would love to know where they got that name from, and then they weren't using the Cruiserweight Championship anymore and on the main rosters, so they brought it to NXT. So now they have the women's championships, and then you bring NXT
women's championship, and don't forget the women's tag team champions.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, and I mean, they just have, I agree here. There's just too many championships passing around. And another useless championship that's still there is the 24/7 title. I want to give a big congratulations for R-Truth winning it for a 53rd time, which is a WWE record, by the way.
That's ridiculous.
So, right, I'm going to get into more of these comments here. Let's just gonna keep going here. When does she go to the main roster? When do you think, Vince? Do you think Io Shirai is going to go to the main roster?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If they're going to bring Io Shirai up, it's going to be either SummerSlam or it's going to be WrestleMania season.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So, AEW, you were saying about AEW and the card here. What do you think about that?
I also want to get into I want to get into tonight's AEW. We started talking about the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we started about that. Let's get back into that. Sure.
Let's skip down to Britt Baker and Rebel taking on Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. You know what? To me, this was a silly match, and I'll tell you why. First of all, Vicky Guerrero's not a wrestler. So
I always thought she was a manager, wasn't she? I mean, that's how I always saw her.
Well, I mean, honestly, she was only brought in because of Eddie Guerrero. So she got brought into wrestling. But I think here's the thing. I don't know. I've seen Rebel wrestle before, and I'm not going to say she's the best wrestler, but I'm going to say she has some talent. But for some odd reason, they make her look stupid. And then Britt Baker jumps off the ring apron and says, "Hey, listen, you got Nyla Rose. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take the back seat." So I thought this match was.
Britt Baker though is the AEW Women's Champion right now. She doesn't even need to even be in this match.
No,
I don't even understand why she's even in this match.
No, but she doesn't. But here's the thing: they're going to have Britt Baker and Nyla Rose go at it for the AEW Women's Championship. So, doing a mixed tag team match with Rebel and Vicky Guerrero just, I guess, fits the bill for that.
I mean, yeah.
I think the biggest part of this match was at the end. Nyla Rose attacks Britt Baker and puts her through a table, which ends the segment. So I do feel like maybe not next week, but maybe the following week.
At the Fright Fest, I think that's the Freer Fest, right? I think this is
Fighter Fest.
Road Rage. Yeah.
Fighter Fest.
Yeah, and there's two parts to that, right? There's two shows, I believe, to that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So I thought.
Miro and Brian Pillman Jr. Again, this was another squash match. I knew Brian Pillman was
going to win. To be. You know that. I know it. Miro. I mean, he used to be Rusev. I mean, come on. I mean,
I know, but here's the thing about this. I don't. Not that I don't think Brian Pillman Jr. deserves a title match, which I do think. I just think that when you're gonna do something like this, make it mean something. Like a couple weeks ago when they did Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio in Hell in a Cell on SmackDown, you knew that Rey Mysterio had no chance in hell. So that's why they made Rey Mysterio look so good against him in the beginning, because they knew that he was going to lose.
Yes, and I think it was at the time it was a smart decision, but it's to make Roman look like this god. Roman is on top of everything. I don't care what you say or anybody else say. Roman, he's on a different level right now, and it's not because of his wrestling. Roman was never perfect in the ring. You know that. I know that. It's because the booking and creative wants him to be all the way up here. I remember when he was getting booed out of stadiums. You know it. I know it happened. And now he's being cheered and loved and, hated at the same time for the right reasons. So they did something right. It just took 7 years.
Hard Hitting Wrestling says, get rid of the main event and shorten Raw. I agree with you. Ooh. Raw is too long. And I know Raw's coming here in August at the Amway Center here in Orlando.
Yep. It's going back to Amway.
So I'm not going to say that I'm looking forward to it. I will be attending it, but I'm not looking forward to 3 hours of wrestling, because you also have to think too, it's not just 3 hours, it's 4 hours, because before that they tape Main Event. So it's 4 hours. And Main Event, I wish Main Event was like Superstars back in the day. Superstars, here's the thing about this. You make this intro of Main Event. You put people on there like John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, but here none of these guys wrestle on Main Event. So it's just something for them to just put on there, other than AEW Dark, where they put people on there and they actually wrestle. Like I've seen John Moxley on there. I've seen I've not seen Kenny Omega, but I've seen the Young Bucks. I mean, so a lot of these guys,
Darby Allin, I know he's wrestled on there before. I think even Sting made an appearance on commentary over there once. So
let's also see Roman versus Kenny. Take my money. That would. Here's the thing. Here's why Hard Hitting Wrestling. This is why this match would make sense. Because both of these guys are over right now, okay? They're both cocky sons of bitches, and they both think their shit doesn't stink. So what I think this match is money? Of course, because I can't stand Kenny Omega right now, because Kenny Omega is not the same wrestler that I watched in New Japan, and Roman Reigns is not the same Roman Reigns we watched when he was in the Shield. So you got both of these guys that are not the same as they were.
Oh, I definitely agree. Absolutely. Kenny Omega is not like he used to be. And Roman Reigns, like I said, was being, after Shield broke up, they wanted Roman Reigns to be the guy. And look how that turned out for them.
Jeff Hardy taking on Ricochet happened on Main Event. Huh. Well, I'd like to see that match.
Yeah. I did not hear about that, but that would be fun. That's always fun to watch those guys go at it. They're good high flyers.
So let's talk about the main event. And remember, keep in mind, this is the first AEW Dynamite since a month ago, because they took them off on Wednesday nights because of the NBA playoffs. So this is the first one coming back. The main event of the night was MJF taking on Sammy Guevara. First time these guys ever wrestled against each other in AEW. I gotta say, it was a great match. I feel like there was a lot of spots by MJF that I thought were just uncalled for. And I also think that MJF is a horrible seller. I don't see. Here's the thing about MJF. MJF is a great talker, but he's not a great wrestler. He knows how to bullshit himself out of a paper bag, but he's not as good as a lot of these guys, and he's not a Sammy Guevara. I know one part of the thing I couldn't believe was Sammy Guevara did some kind of move, and MJF flipped over into the crowd. And then Sammy Guevara did a Shane McMahon where he got on top of the rope and jumped into the crowd. You also can say he did an RVD. Yes. Here we go. Hold on, real quick. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Jim Ross did say WWE Dynamite.
I missed this.
I loved it. I got to tell you this. When the show went off the air and I heard that, I said to myself, "What?" So I tried to go and find it on one of my sites that I go on that shows the show, and it wasn't there yet. But I am telling you, I'm going to tell you this: he's going to get a lot of heat for this, and he's going to get a lot of criticism from Tony Khan and everything, because that's a big mess up.
Well, remember, Jim Ross is the same dude a month ago who said Randy Orton is better than Kenny Omega. I don't know if you remember this. I talked about it on the show. You can go back on our previous one. Yes. I was there on that, and I said that, it was all over, and boy, it just went off. Everybody went off on that one.
Yes, Hard-Hitting Wrestling says MJF is basically the Miz. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes. 100%. But here's the thing about this Hard-Hitting Wrestling. I'm going to tell you this. I actually think the Miz can wrestle. So not only is the Miz a great talker, but he is a good wrestler. I'm not going to say he's the best wrestler, but he's a lot better than MJF. I'll tell you that right now. But do I think MJF has a little up on the Miz? I think the Miz, I think MJF has a better promo stat than the Miz, because you have to understand something. Yes, the Miz has I'm the Miz and I am awesome, but you have to also understand this. The Miz came from MTV's Real World, so he had no prior wrestling experience. MJF has been in the indies for a while. I've seen MJF live on MLW, which is a promotion that runs down here in Florida, but it also goes to New York, Philly, and all the other states. But he was over in the indie scene with I'm better than you. That was way big on the indie scene. So for him to come down or come up with that on AEW as well, it's money. It's money.
Well, I have to jump in on the MJF comment. You know how I am. I have to jump in. Look, MJF is a guy, I hate his guts as a character, but as a person, I think he's awesome because he's actually from New Jersey. I don't know if you know this. MJF is from here. A lot of these AEW stars are actually from New Jersey. I think Ortiz is, and a couple other guys are also from up here in this part of the woods. So, I hate MJF as a character, but I like him as a person because he's from New Jersey. So, yeah. Right. So let's get into these other comments here. There's a lot going on here. And so AEW that ended, and let's talk about let's
go. We already talked about that. Was JR watching AEW Raw, or is he watching AEW SmackDown?
I just think it was a mistake. He used to do, Raw for so many years and used to be Vince McMahon's guy for so many years. You watch that show, Dark Side of the Ring, it will, he'll tell you that, he was kind of Vince's right-hand man for a lot of it for many years. So he's going to get heat, but I think he'll be fine. He's a legend in this industry. So I think he'll get over it. So.
Well, let's talk about they just announced tonight on Dynamite that there's going to be 3 shows taking place in Chicago for All Out weekend. I'm excited about this. First, you got Dynamite on September 1st, then you got AEW Rampage on Friday, and September 3rd finally is All Out Sunday, September 5th. Tickets go on sale July 9th, which is next Friday. I'm actually interested in this. I really am. I would fly to Chicago to see these 3 shows. I really would.
Yeah. Chicago's great. They're actually coming around here. I don't know if you know that. AEW, I think they're coming to New Jersey in September. So I'm actually really excited. Hopefully I'm gonna get tickets and go. We'll see what happens. But I'm really hoping that the AEW comes up here. They're supposed to Blood and Guts up here. They didn't do that because of the pandemic, but now they're coming up here. So I'm excited for that. Right. I want to jump into the biggest thing that happened. I don't know if you saw it, but I want to jump into this.
Remember, guys, Mad Dog has never been to a wrestling live event.
Not yet, but possibly AEW. If not AEW, definitely Survivor Series here in Brooklyn if they have it here. So I've been to indie stuff here, though. I've been to the indie scene.
I do feel like Moxley did get the upper hand. And AEW got the upper hand when they got Moxley because I just don't think that Moxley was used the right way in WWE. I think
as Dean Ambrose from the Shield.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He had a singles run. He won the title, but I think he's over more in AEW than he was in WWE.
You know what I think happened here with Jon Moxley, or AKA Dean Ambrose, one of my personal favorites in WWE modern day era. I personally think that this is my opinion here. That the comical things Ambrose started doing just started to be too ridiculous. And I know it didn't go well with fans. It didn't go well with me. I stopped watching for a while and then got back on the train a little bit once I heard the rumblings of the Shield finally getting back together. And that never happened, as you know. But, it's just it got too comedical. And then the storyline with Roman and leukemia thing and that whole angle was just, that was the boiling point, what I heard. And I can't wait to read his book in November. So I don't know if you heard about that. His new book coming out in November, so I want to buy that and read that.
I wonder if it's going to touch base on his time in WWE.
I hope it does. I really do, because remember, he was on the road with Seth Roman for almost 2, 3, 4 years. And they always fought. I remember always watching. I always watch these things, these little, things on YouTube, and I watch these things on the network, and I watch everything or Peacock now about how they always wanted to stay together. And Moxley said it on, his wife's podcast. I forget what it's called. Renee Young. He said it on her show that he tried to fight for the Shield to stay together, and the company wanted them to break off and go do singles runs. So, I don't know if that was all worth it. Right. So, Money in the Bank. What are you thinking here? Who's gonna win?
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If Riddle doesn't win this, and I'm not saying it because I know Riddle, I'm saying it because if Riddle doesn't win this, there was no reason for Riddle to be in there, because I think right now Riddle is very hot commodity with Randy Orton. So why not capitalize on this for him?
I hate to tell you this, buddy. I really do, but it's going to be Drew McIntyre. Drew's going to win. He's going to definitely probably cash in on Lashley at SummerSlam, and then we're going to get a certain beast coming back, and then we're going to get that rematch in front of fans we've always wanted at the I believe, after SummerSlam, so the Night of Champions pay-per-view, Clash of Champions, Clash of Champions pay-per-view between Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. And then Brock's going to win the title, obviously, going into Extreme Rules. So, but yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. Drew's going to win. I'm sorry. I do think, though, the Randy Orton and Matt Riddle will win the Raw Tag Team Champions together. What do you think, Vince?
I mean, I can see it. I just don't want to see it. I think here's the problem with Riddle is that I don't like that they are using Riddle as a tag team guy.
Right.
I know he won the US title, but you have to understand something. When he was in NXT, he should have won either the North American or the NXT championship because he's that good. You know, you put it okay, so you let the Velveteen Dream win the North American, which he has a lot of talent, but doesn't Riddle have a lot of talent? Like, don't you have faith in Riddle? And then hard-hitting wrestling has to say,
you got there.
I would like to disagree. I think Riddle is going to get burned by Randy Orton. You know what? I agree. I can agree. I can see that. I can see it. I can see it, and I'll tell you why. Because Randy Orton always turns on his tag team partners.
Yes, and they all leave for AEW because I don't know if you've seen that in the meme. There's a meme going around where it's like Randy Orton and it's like all the different people who left WWE and it's like all of his tag team partners.
It's true. They all left for AEW.
It's crazy.
All right, well let's get into some news, man. Let's get into some news.
I want to go into one thing before.
Hold on, real quick before you get into what you're gonna say. We didn't talk about NXT this week. One of the biggest stories come out of it was Isaiah Swerve Scott is your new North American Championship champion after beating Bronson Reed this week. And I feel like the reason why he beat Bronson Reed is because Reed's moving up.
Yep. I agree with that. I mean, if he was on main event and if he's been backstage at SmackDown and Raw, what I've been hearing, he's been backstage almost every week for the past 3 or 4 weeks now. So him and Karrion Kross have been there. So, and Vince McMahon has also been there. I can confirm that as well.
Well, Vince has been at the Performance Center all week.
Yep. Last couple of weeks, actually, and they say security is mad high. So, when the boss is in town, there's a lot of security and there's a lot of people, and it's going to happen. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe when the fans come back. It's definitely, I think, going to be fans come back. I don't think they're going to have Bronson Reed Karrion Kross show up during the Thunderdome thing. So, what do you think?
I hope not. I'm so sick of seeing this Thunderdome thing.
We kissed goodbye, and what, next week? I think they're taping one show this week, and after that, it's like done. So we're done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll get to that in the news in a little bit here. I'll tell you a little about that and the way that's going to work.
Let me tell you what I have for news.
Go ahead.
Real quick, have you seen the new trailer for the Lex Luger documentary that premieres on July 4th?
No.
It looks.
Where's this?
If you go on to it's on YouTube, but I thought I saw it on one of the WWE shows this week, but it looks really good and it looks controversial because I think they talk about Miss Elizabeth and her death with Lex Luger.
Oh wow, this is a WWE thing?
Yeah, it's WWE Icons.
Oh wow, okay. Icons. Yeah, I like that show. Last one I think they did was RVD, right? Rob Van Dam.
Yes, that was. Also, news broke on Tuesday that former TNA wrestler star and backstage producer Sanjay Dutt had quit and left the company for WWE several weeks ago. Now it's being it's being reported that he is now part of All Elite
Wrestling.
And was there shortly before this week's AEW. Dutt has a backstage at Daly's Place and has signed a full-time producer with a young promotion. You know what? I gotta tell you this right now. I had no idea that he was with WWE, and if he was in WWE, I don't see what kind of job he did because
that's the thing. We don't know. Like, I don't know if you know this. In 2014, when the Authority was a big thing, it turns out Jamie Noble and oh god, I forget the other one now. Help me out. There was two of them. It was Jamie Noble and it was the other one. But they're actually producers.
Yeah.
Jamie Noble's a producer, and the other one, J&J Security, they're both producers. They actually produced, and I actually read the leaked WrestleMania list of who produced the matches. Jamie Noble and the other guy, I forget his name now. I feel bad because he was also part of J&J. Were on the producers list. And I didn't know that. I actually thought they were just on-screen goons for the Authority, and they're actually producers. So that's insane.
Let's get to some comments.
Yeah,
Daniel Williams says the Shield was unstoppable force. Yes, they were. They were great. I think towards the end they kind of got stale with some of the stuff they did. Let's see. Hard hitting wrestling says the Elite Signer. He also says, I don't know if it's true, but is Bad Bunny on the main roster?
No, Bad Bunny's actually going on tour. I talked about it a couple shows ago, actually probably a month right after the WrestleMania. I think we did a show post WrestleMania, and I believe I talked about Bad Bunny's going on tour next year. That was the commercial. If you didn't see it, go on YouTube. It's on WWE's channel. It's Triple H giving Bad Bunny the microphone. You did a great job at WrestleMania. Now do what you do best. And he gives him like this really spiky microphone or whatever, and Bad Bunny walks off or whatever on a truck.
50 years from now, who do you think will be on the Hall of Fame that year and already made it? Let's see. I could say I could see John Cena maybe getting in. Maybe The Miz.
I'm just hoping the Shield gets in. I know it's Moxley burned the bridges with the company, and trust me, he burned a lot of bridges with WWE. I just hope the stable gets in. But I would definitely say Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and definitely Becky Lynch deserves the Hall of Fame spot. But right now, I think next year and even the year after that, I think Chyna should be in the Hall of Fame. So hopefully she'll be in the Hall of Fame before 50 years.
Did you also see the story about Alberto Del Rio is interested in WWE return? So let's have a little quick laugh. So we know, if you don't know, you should look him up. So Alberto Del Rio has been in trouble with the law for the last couple of years.
Isn't he still in trouble? I mean, last time I checked, he was just arrested again, last week.
He was arrested for beating on Paige. And then also he had charges against him for statutory rape. So it's funny that he says he would be interested in a return. WWE doesn't want your ass.
Nope.
And if they do, they're freaking desperate.
No, I don't think they need him neither, honestly. I mean, look, the only reason why Samoa Joe came back to the company, and I'm not hating on Samoa Joe. I like Samoa Joe, awesome. But, the only reason why he came back is because Triple H said, I want him back. And Vince was like, oh, okay. If you do it, it's on your dime, though. You're paying, you're doing everything, you're running that. If Samoa Joe comes back, that's on you, not me. That's what McMahon's told Triple H, what I heard. And what does Triple H do? He signs Joe to NXT, and now he's like this big authority figure, if you will, for the company or whatever, or NXT brand,
WWE officially changes King Corbin's name back to Baron Corbin.
Yep.
And now it's official. It's now on Twitter. The King is dead on Corbin's. And now I think it's what?
Just Baron Corbin.
King Shinsuke?
Oh, yeah, King Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes. I'm happy that they're doing this. Shinsuke was always the king of strong style anyway. He had that for title for a very long time, even before he was called up to the main rosters, as you know. So I really like that. I really like where that's going. There's also a big thing I wanted to talk about here. And I'll get to this comment. Any rumors on AEW? There was a thing with AEW. Kenny Omega did a little teaser trailer. Go watch it. It's all over the place. About the AEW game. And it just has a little footage of Darby Allin's character. I don't know if you saw it. It looks pretty cool, but it's way too early to tell. It's like Darby fighting this green little blob thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's like an AI, but it shows off Darby pretty well. So we'll see where that goes. but I definitely want to see that. Now, I do want to talk about this. This is the biggest thing. As you know, the biggest rumor. I don't know if you caught SmackDown the other night, but if you didn't, something huge happened. And I was not prepared for this, Vince. I'll be honest with you. I had no clue that Edge, the rated R superstar, would come back to SmackDown. I don't know how WWE hit it so well because I, listen and, read and find all the sources I have to my disposal. And I found it nowhere till after Edge came out and literally destroyed Roman. And of course, they have the match of Money in the Bank, as you know. So I'm really looking forward to that. What do you think about that, Vinny?
I gotta say, I don't know what to say because I honestly think that Edge now is more like a Brock Lesnar. I mean, he did his little run, he did his WrestleMania skit, but I don't know. I can't. I don't think he's that great anymore. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. For his age, he does move great, but I just don't. I mean, you're right. It is bad booking. I mean,
it is bad booking because Edge was supposed to. What I heard, Edge was supposed to come back on the SmackDown before Money in the Bank with Sasha Banks returning too. They were both on the poster. Sasha, I heard as of today, was recruited to the Performance Center to do some brushing up, to do some reps, and to do some brushing up training. So she actually was called to the PC, and they actually caught her going into the PC this morning, do some in-ring training. So it looks like the boss is coming back soon as well. So I'm excited for that. What do you think, Vince? Sasha Banks, come back. Not that happy, huh?
No, you know what? I mean, there's really nothing to say about it. I mean, I'm tired of the same angles. I mean, like if she's going to come back and battle with Bayley, I mean, there's no reason for it.
I think she's going after the title, obviously.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm looking at this game footage you were talking about with AEW, and it's crazy because it's the same. I don't know if you remember this, but it's Future Media Creators, Yukos.
That's right.
If you remember, they're the ones that made the SmackDown versus Raw games.
That's right.
That's right. Honestly, I mean, it looks like a SmackDown game, but it does have more of a realistic feel than those games.
I mean, the graphics are much better in 2021. I mean,
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The graphics are much better. The characters look really good, but how's the gameplay?
I don't know. They only showed like a 1-minute clip, so I wouldn't know.
Well, they showed
early development.
They showed so they showed the Blob versus Darby Allin, and then they showed Kenny Omega and
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the Kenny
Omega. Yes, they showed Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, and then they showed
that up.
They show Jericho.
You keep talking. I want to get into this comment here. Edge versus Rollins. Yes, as you guys know, I watched Talking Smack over the weekend, and Talking Smack, Seth Rollins said they gypped me out of a title match. Now that was my title match. This is gonna happen. Apparently, Edge will verse Rollins, and it's all because of Rollins never getting the shot at the Universal title. I kind of can see where, remember, AEW and WWE were so different, when it comes to the ranking system, if there even is such thing, a ranking system WWE. Who's the number one contender? Who's not the number one contender? Really, yes, for SmackDown, yes, it would probably be Seth Rollins because Cesaro already had a couple chances to get the title already. Rey Mysterio had a shot at the title. Now, it would have been Seth Rollins, but now it's Edge, obviously. And of course, AEW, they have a ranking system. So it's just very different. It's very strange. I don't know if I like that because Drew McIntyre, number one contender all the time. So just makes no sense. Right, Vince? What do you think?
Again, I don't see this being a good match. I mean, it's like, I hate to say it, but I also heard a rumor of Bill Goldberg taking on Bobby Lashley.
I heard that too.
At SummerSlam.
I also heard Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, and Brock's still not with the company right now. That is confirmed. Brock is still not signed to WWE yet.
Here's the crazy part. I just don't understand why WWE is so high on Bill Goldberg. Like what is it with this company that thinks that Bill Goldberg still should perform in a ring?
I don't know. He has got a giant contract. That's all I know.
I'm going to tell you this right now. After what I saw between him and the Undertaker, that one match, I would have hung the boots up and said, "Listen, that was horrible. I can't do this anymore."
No, not when you have a big fat check to go only do 2 pay-per-views a year. I mean, that's kind of what they do. So, that's really what it is. It's all about big money and big contracts. It's the same thing with Edge. I read somewhere that Edge had a huge contract going into it to do like 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year, and it's a lot of money. So, right. So let's see what this one said here. Hard Hit Wrestling says, why didn't Impact have a trailer of the main event talent, including Joe? False advertising. What do you guys think? What do you think?
What is this about?
Why did I guess Impact Wrestling, right? Yeah. Or is this maybe talking about NXT? I don't know. Oh, Impact Wrestling, I guess, had a trailer for the upcoming pay-per-view, I guess, and it featured Samoa Joe, I guess.
Well, here's the thing about Impact, and this is something that I found out, and
I don't watch Impact, so I wouldn't know, honestly.
But I think it's stupid, but I understand why. I understand why it happens. Is so Impact is allowed to use their old talent in their footage. So what Impact does a lot of the time is they take their old stuff and put it in with their new stuff, because let's just face it, let's just be honest. I don't think anybody right now in Impact Wrestling is worth going and selling out. I mean, just a couple months ago they sold out some venue in Nashville.
Right.
And I just I don't see it. Like there's nobody on that card that I want to see. And it's like, I know I'm saying that, but to me, like I don't see.
I mean, to me, Matt Hardy, but Matt Hardy's coming up here for Six Flags SummerSlam event. So I could see Matt Hardy here for 25 instead of going to a show in Impact. You know what I mean? So.
Right. No, I get you.
That's the only one I really want to see. Of all the people in Impact right now, it's Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy's not even in Impact. He's managing Private Party. He's actually signed to AEW. He's not signed to Impact Wrestling. So,
well,
they just have that promotion.
We're almost at an hour here, so let's
right. So one more piece of news here. I gotta tell you this. I know you're gonna find this ridiculous, but I want to read off this list. WWE released a top tag teams, the greatest tag teams of all time. I am going to do just the top 10 real quick. I'm just gonna run them down and let me know what you think. British Bulldog came in at number 10. Brothers of Destruction, New Age Outlaws, number 8. The Usos, Legion of Doom at 6. Dudley's Boys at 5. Edge and Christian 4. The Hart Foundation 3. Hardy Boys at 2. And It's a New Day. Yes, it is number 1. New Day's number 1, apparently, for this.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. That's a slap in the face, because there's 2 tag teams. There's 2 tag teams on that list that I think should be before the New Day. Definitely the freaking Legion of Doom and the Hart Foundation. I mean, here again, this is WWE disrespecting the old timers and the Hall of Famers, because I'm not going to say the New Day is not a great tag team, but they are most definitely. They're nowhere near a fucking Hart Foundation. And really, the Usos. Yeah, I mean, the Usos have been in WWE for what, maybe 10 fucking years.
Yeah, they're number 7 on this list.
That's crazy. That's
yes.
crazy.
I wanted to bring this up to you. I was very surprised when the list came out this morning. I think Edge and Christian should have been up a little bit more. I'm glad the Hardys are up there. I think that Matt and Jeff did a lot of great things. They kind of made those ladder matches big. But I also agree with you. I think the Dudleys should have been up there as well. I think the Dudleys should have been higher than 5. And I have no clue why the Usos are on there. I mean, they're not even a tag team anymore. So Jay's missing in action. So
you know what though?
No sense.
Now that WWE owns WCW, I feel like Harlem Heat should have been on that list.
Absolutely.
I mean,
there's a lot of great tag teams. I mean, in WCW, and they could have done it, and I'm sure they're on the list. I'll send you the full list afterwards. But this is the top 10, and honestly, I disagree with the call New Day being number 1. I think New Day should have been maybe number 4 or maybe number 5. They're great tag team.
I mean, can we honestly sit here and say that the New Day is over Jeff Hardy and Matt and the Dudley Boys?
Apparently, according to the list, it is. But I personally don't think so. No.
Wow. All right, Mad Dog, let's get out of here. Where can they find you at, Mad Dog?
Right, find me everywhere. Matt_Mad Dog, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You guys can find me there. Mad Dog Kelly on Facebook. You want to add me? Go ahead. I post all wrestling news and all wrestling rumors as well. Also, make sure you follow World Wrestling Radio on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Like us there. Where can they find you at, Vinny?
Well, you can always find me every Saturday on Florida Man Radio Network, 660 AM, 105.5 FM for the Vincent and Maddogg Show. Me and Nico holding it down, talking about wrestling, entertainment news, and anything else comes to mind. Give us a call, 321-339-1055. Call or text in. And if you do not have those stations where you are, like Mad Dog that's in New Jersey, you can always watch me at Vincent Laspada on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and go on to the Apple or Android Play Store and download the Florida Man Radio app. You can take us on the go.
Florida Man Radio app. I have it on my phone as well, so you guys should definitely download that.
Well, Mad Dog, that is all the time.
It's always a pleasure doing this with you, Vince. I'm always a fan, and I'm always down to do shows. Hopefully next week, Nico will join us again. He'll give us some live reaction of how AEW was tonight. So I'm excited for that. Thank you all, and have a good night.
But I'm so frustrated.